So, the way you start your presentation, your opening lines are always the most important. So typically what I do when I start to figure out what I'm going to do to try and get your attention is I prop myself up in my library. I go through books, magazines, looking for jokes, anecdotes, stories, something I can use to get your attention. And in the process of doing that over the years, I've come up with some great lines that have been very inspirational and motivating to me. And I'd like to start by sharing some of those with you. The first one comes from a former baseball relief pitcher for the Houston Astros and the Philadelphia Phillies. Became a broadcaster. His name is Larry Anderson, and he was quoted as saying, "If at first you don't succeed, failure may just be your thing." I can relate to that. Sounds like it's maybe better for a speech at Pets for incoming presidents. Epic, but probably not a great opening line for you. How about one from W.C. Fields, who said, "There comes a time in every man's life where he has to take the bull by the tail and face the situation." This is what I'm starting to feel. And one that really does get me into my subject a little bit comes from a customs official while I was crossing from one country to the next. And the official looked at my passport, and he looked at me, and he said, "Where have you been? Where are you going? And what do you have to declare?" Where have you been? Where are you going? And what do you have to declare? That sounds like my entire Rotary speech life. Where I've been, where I'm going, and for all of us in this organization, what do we have to declare? We talk a lot about communication in this day and age. How do we tell people about Rotary so we can attract new members? How do we tell our clubs the right things so they'll stay in Rotary, they'll understand the relationships and the fellowship that we have? How do we convince people to give money to our fundraisers so we can support our projects and our programs? How do we promote better ethics in business and professions and in our communities? How do we communicate the value of Rotary at all? Communication. I know you care about these things, but sometimes our expectations don't necessarily match our experiences. We really want our leaders to proclaim to the masses about Rotary, and we want to hear inspiring, motivational messages that unite us in action and fellowship. And we believe that if we just open our Facebook, open our emails, and look at our Facebooks and read some newsletters, that we can find out everything there is to know about Rotary and what it is and what it will do. And we know that if we just get together personally more often, and we get together with people that know all things Rotary, that we will find some kind of a spark that will drive us to action. Yes, I'm being a little cynical. And I think we can do better. I believe of all the communication tools that we have, speaking, electronic media, receptions and get-togethers, one of the most powerful, one of the most important, one of the most all-encompassing, yes, maybe one of the most truly effective at sharing the Rotary story is our in-person events. Our events like this weekend together. Rotary events of all kinds, conferences, assemblies, conventions, seminars, dinners, have the opportunity and the responsibility to tell the ongoing Rotary story to Rotarians, to spouses, to other friends, and at times even to the general public. Events are able to communicate to others the feeling, the impressions, the understandings that have energized tens of thousands of people in the past 114 years, maybe hundreds of thousands of people that have pushed this organization forward. Events can be powerful. I know this personally. As a young incoming Rotary Club president, a little bit arrogant, I went to my first Rotary event, a multi-district president-elect training seminar. Yes, I learned a lot about Rotary. Yes, I learned about the job ahead of me. But the important thing about that event was that I sat next to leaders, entrepreneurs, people with ideas, people that would stimulate me, people that would intimidate me and challenge me to be better. My next event was to go to my first district conference as an incoming club president. The club paid for me. Felt like I had to go. And it was a little boring at first, but then they brought on the GSE team. Remember the group study exchange? They brought on the GSE team from England, and these guys were so funny. It was better than some comedy acts I'd been to. And later in the afternoon, they brought on the youth exchange students to talk. My, it's embarrassing to see a grown man cry in public. It touched me. And all of a sudden, I was wanting more of this organization, more of working with youth, more of being part of this global community. Later in the year, I went to a Rotary Foundation fundraiser, and I heard an orthopedic surgeon named Joe Serra talk about surgery in Malawi, a country in Africa, working on crawlers, polio victims. His words, his images, his demeanor changed me. Made me want to open my wallet and contribute. Keep in mind that none of these three events had anything to do with letters from the governor, videos from Rotary, a Rotarian magazine. There weren't computers in those days. In fact, I'm kind of embarrassed, I have to say, that at the Pets, I hadn't even opened the notebook, the shrink wrapping in the notebook that the governor had sent me to learn how to become a club president. Folks, it was the events that did it for me. So what I'd like to do in the next few minutes is tell you how events have this incredible power to motivate, fundraise, inform, and train. You know, some say that in-person events are going out of style, that we don't do them anymore. But I'd like to remind you that almost every company in almost every industry still does annual events of some sort to push sales, and here's key, to deliver the latest information in their business. And I know we do not unveil a new iPhone every year, but there still are important things that we connect with, that we need to get out to our membership to maintain Rotary's viability and to ensure that we thrive. So in the next few minutes, I want to take you on an event odyssey to showcase their importance. Think of some of the events that you have been involved with, that you've put on or you've just been to and seen or produced in your life. This first tour is an event that we're all familiar with. Do you remember your wedding? Congratulations. Or maybe it was the wedding of your son or daughter, like this wedding here. What a memorable wedding. By the way, that was a wedding of former RI director Jackson Shea and his wife Juliet, double wedding of their son and daughter a few years ago in Taiwan. Weddings are a unique combination of legacy and imagination. A wedding is really about tradition, isn't it? The word for that, though, is legacy, and we appreciate that in Rotary, too. But every young couple wants to be imaginative, wants their wedding to be, and here's a key word, contemporary. They want to be with the times. Our events have to do the same thing. They have to communicate our legacy, but at the same time feel fresh and new and current and contemporary. The second stop is the Rotary International Convention in Atlanta. I suspect you might have heard of this event and the message given by this particular presenter, and the information that he shares may be forever etched in many of our lives.
I'm thrilled that Rotary is stepping up once again with that huge commitment to raise $50 million a year. Now that the end is in sight, we want to support you totally and work together to close this funding gap. So your goal of $50 million a year over the next 3 years, that'll bring $150 million. And I want to help with that. So our foundation will extend our 2-for-1 match to that full $50 million. And so Rotary will be able to raise. So in total, if you meet your $50 million, we'll do the match over the 3 years, $450 million. That's going to get it done. All right.
I know you think that what I'm going to say is you need a star speaker. You need to find a Bill Gates to come to your events. That's not my message. My message is one of focus and credibility. He was there because of polio. He was focusing us on polio. We've been in this marathon project and we want it to end. And we needed someone that had credibility to push that forward. So keep that in mind when you're planning events. Focus and credibility of what's needed at that time. The third event is not to illustrate that not all events are a speaker on stage and an audience sitting in a room. More and more events include hands-on activities. And I think you'll see that this event takes that to a huge degree.
Over 500 volunteers who came, supported us for this day, and were able to give back to the community in this area. If it wasn't for this tour, many of the Boys and Girls Clubs would not have received as much help and support that we were able to provide.
Never chew ice. You heard that from your dad. This event was unique in that it's often said that people will rarely remember what you say. They will remember what you have them do, but they will always remember how you made them feel. That particular event, I guarantee you, everybody went home feeling like they had contributed to making the world better. Final stop in our Odyssey deals with one of the most powerful aspects of events, something that I really appreciate, the ability to create. You know, the word I can best use is probably feel and emotion. I can best illustrate this for you if you will recall an event that you went to that combined so many factors, talent, staging, lights, sound, costuming, all into one extravaganza that made for an event that you felt you would never forget. For me, that event would be 2016 Rotary International Convention in Seoul, Korea, the closing program. A clip from it. Why do I show you these 4 clips? To underscore the powerful aspects of events. Quite simply, we can't communicate any better than that. The events that you create provide a sense of legacy, imagination, focus, credibility, accomplishment, direction, and a feel and an emotion that will ensure Rotary's future viability. Many of you have put on events that are sitting in this room: conferences, assemblies, receptions, fundraising, dinners, club activities like socials, club celebrations, receptions, and many more of you will be asked to do this in the future. There is a tendency, I know, to just get it done. Just take a report from the last one and change the names and the dates and the faces in the same blanks. I beg you to realize the importance of this incredible communication tool. And think outside the box and do it differently and do it your way and attract the next generations and be credible and be focused and be all of those things. Don't just fill in the blanks. So I put together just a real quick set of directions on what to do when you're called upon for the next event. The first one is establish your vision and your concept. You know, 2 workmen were sitting having lunch over the construction site of Disney World in 1967. Walt Disney had passed away a year prior to this. "It's a shame," said one workman, "that Walt Disney won't be here to see this when it's finished." And the other one replied, "What do you mean? He did see it. That's why it's here." The vision of what you want to communicate. Start with the ending and then work towards it. Number 2, assemble and lead a competent team and establish a plan. It seems to me that any environment, teamwork consisting of strong leadership, a sense of purpose, goals that are calculated, a certain faithful interaction between every part of the group is imperative. If you're putting on an event, review your own leadership style. What do you do well and what do you do poorly? And then augment your deficiencies on your committee so you work together with a purposeful, integrated approach to a successful event. Number 3, design the program. Don't start with a minute-to-minute. Start with a script. Do something different. Stage it differently. Use different modes of communication. Don't make them all speakers. Make sure that you don't have people that just watch something, tell you what there is to know about it. Invite the participants. Have them show what they're doing. Use different communication styles. An event is more like a painting or crafting a movie than it is an accounting procedure. Number 4, sell the meeting or event. Come on. We are or we have been business people. Use your skills in that direction. What's your target market? What have you been doing well? What are you doing poorly? How do you to attract the masses? What kind of methodology are you going to use to get them there? What's the personal sales approach? Don't think that you're going to get people to come to an event by pushing a button on a computer and broadcasting it and assuming that somebody's listening. There is so much digital noise out there that you're never going to get people to come, get together, be able to get that feel by just distributing it on your broadcast email or your Facebook page. Number 4, manage the operations. Organizational charts, budgets, schedules, contracts, rehearsals, communications. We can't get away from it. It's often said, the devil is in the details. Finally, an event is ultimately speeches, receptions, newsletters, emails, websites, and social media. It's a powerful tool, maybe the most powerful of all your communication resources. Please know that your events, whether they're for motivating, fundraising, informing, training, or just socializing, are or can be one of the best ways to tell your story about Rotary and activate a broad base of Rotarians in your clubs. This weekend, Governor Elaine could have called you together in a series of webinars, Facebook posts, and emails to give you up-to-date details about Rotary, your district, and your clubs. Our competent staff in Evanston could pepper you with multiple electronic newsletters that show you the breadth of our organization. And you could go to Rotary.org and see some incredible videos of Rotary's great work, or even stream next month's convention in Hamburg. But instead, your governor suggested that you come to this place, to be at this conference, to be together, to experience the feel, the connectivity, and the force of our organization. Through your imagination, you will weave together the elements of this week with your friends and fellow Rotarians into your own story of Rotary and your place in it. Walt Disney said, "That's what we storytellers do. We restore order through imagination, and we instill hope again and again and again." Instill hope. That's what this and all your events challenge us to do. Hope in the promises of Rotary for our members and for those around us. Grand events awaken a sense of purpose and direction. They inspire us to action, and they unite and connect all who participate. I hope you consider how to use the medium of great events in your clubs and your district to tell the ongoing Rotary story, to share our hopes and dreams of friendship, diversity, integrity, leadership, and service. And thank you.